How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how ego relates to competitive games. Now, this is a very favorite topic of mine because it applies especially in a competitive setting where you're competing against other players and you're playing with other people on the same team. Your ego is going to rise, your ego is going to be very, very out of control in these situations. So, I first want to kind of explain how ego applies to competitive games. We can get a better understanding of it, and we can kind of see what kind of goes on internally with every single one of us, right? And then I'm going to hop into a game, and I'm going to kind of take note of when my ego starts to flare up, and just kind of show you how I process that, and show you how I control my behavior despite the ego showing up. So what is the ego? Basically, whenever I think about who I am, that is the ego, right? I am a gamer, right? I am good or good at games. I am a software engineer. Oh my God, I have like doctor handwriting. So whenever you identify with some title or some quality, that is the ego operating. And I can be bad at games too. A lot of people think that ego is very like one-sided. They think, oh, this person's full of themselves. They're really cocky. They're really selfish, right? They're trying to just like flex their skill and like show off, right? That is ego. But ego also kind of operates in the other dimension too. If someone's really beating themselves up for how they're playing and they're saying, hey, I'm so dog shit. I'm throwing this game. I'm the reason we're losing. That is also ego. How can we identify when ego is active while we're playing? Well, you'll say certain things like, I'm trash if I miss. Or, they are holding me back. Now, how is this ego? Because you're saying, hey, Reed, you're telling me that it has to do with myself. So how does they are holding me back, they being my teammates, have to do with that? Well, in this case, you're identifying as a player that deserves to be a higher rank. If they weren't there, if my teammates weren't so bad, I would be a higher rank. I'd be a higher elo. So in this case, your ego is identifying as a better player than them. And when we use the word better, we're making a comparison between ourselves and our teammates, right? So these are some examples of like how it appears in games. These are like some really common examples, right? Whenever you judge others and whenever you judge yourself, those are very ego-related things. This also shows up as kind of like pressure to perform. And if you've seen my last video, I talked about how whenever I'm in a game with a streamer, I feel more pressure to perform. That's because I identify as someone who should be a good player. And because other people are seeing it, it makes me want to care more, or makes my ego more on edge, on guard. Because it doesn't want to mess up. If I mess up, then people are going to think of me poorly. Oh, no. Right? So pressure to perform is a big one. So if you beat yourself up a lot for underperforming, this will definitely impact you. The other one is just frustration with your own mistakes. Next really important one is tilting when your teammates are underperforming. Right? Because again, why do you tilt when your teammates underperform? because you are identifying with some sort of rank in mind. And if the integrity of your rank is threatened by some garbage player that's holding you back and forcing you to be in this rank, right? Then you're going to like feel bad. It's like whenever your teammates underperform and you get mad at it, why do you get mad? Because if you lose the game and it's not your fault, then they are responsible for your decline in identity, right? But the reality is, you are the only person responsible for that. You're going to have bad games. You're going to have games where your teammates are underperforming. You're going to have games where you're going to have games where you have a lever, right? It just happens. That's the nature of the ranked queue. If it were really true that your teammates are the reason you're holding back, then people at the top of the ladder, pro players, would not be able to consistently get to the top of the ladder, right? They are able to work with the RNG of the ranked system, of the matchmaking system, and still climb out of it anyways, right? So anytime you genuinely believe that your teammates are the reason you can't rank up, that's your ego. Like, your ego is kind of an illusion, right? It's not really coming from you. It's coming from like these labels that it wants to stick on you, because that's how you function in society. But because you're so closely identifying with a rank, right, or your performance or your self-worth as a player and a person is dependent on your SR, whenever that is threatened, that's going to make you feel like shit. That's going to make you feel awful, right? And it's one thing just to feel like shit as a result of it, but we don't just feel like shit when it happens. We tend to flame our teammates. We tend to beat ourselves up for playing bad. We tend to make more mistakes because we feel more pressured to perform well. So this, when ego gets involved, it makes us less likely, oh my God, it makes us less likely to play better and win more. It also makes us unhappy, because when ego gets involved, we are basically on edge the whole time. Like, think of it this way. If I have a goal of being the number one player, if I want to be the best player in the world, I won't be satisfied until I become the best player in the world. So not only do I have unrealistic expectations, but if someone else is better than me, I'm going to like kind of treat them like shit because they're a threat to my identity as the future number one player, right? So you're going to probably tear down some relationships that you normally could have had. You're also going to just like not be content until you reach that goal. And even if you do reach that goal, what happens is now you're the best player in the world, if you even get to that point. And if you do, then you are going to be horrified and incredibly neurotic about maintaining that rank. If the number two person is catching up to you, oh shit, that's a threat to your identity. If you're not the best, who are you? Right? So you might think, oh, well, if I'm like really confident in myself, right, then it means I think I'm going to like win, the duel against this other person because I know I'm really good at this game and I'm really good at hitting shots. So I'm going to win this duel. Isn't that like a healthy mindset? Yes, but there's one thing. Ego is not the same thing as confidence. You can be confident without ego. How do we do that? Let's kind of look into it. Confidence is how you react or respond when faced with adversity. When you're confident, you don't really rely on any sort of validation. It's independent of outcome. So regardless of whether you're winning or losing, you're saying, hey, I'm going to show up because I know what I'm capable of, and I'm going to try my best whether I win or lose. Ego is very volatile. It's one-sided. It's saying, hey, if things don't go my way, I'm going to shut down. Right? Confidence doesn't matter what happens. Anything can happen. You're just happy to be there. You know what you can do. You know what you're capable of. You don't let your ego get involved. You can see this with the athletes all the time. They don't let one loss destroy their whole career or their confidence. So, what do we do when ego comes up? Well, ego can only exist in the future. It's kind of like if I make a statement about my worth, right? What does having a high rank do in this very moment right now? Like literally nothing. Your ego formulates these labels on yourself because you are thinking about, hey, in the future, like other people are going to see me this way, right? But like what happens right now, like in this moment, or like when you're playing the game, it doesn't really apply. It applies after you have the thought about it. So it could even be like within a couple minutes or a couple seconds of having the thought. Like you could be in a game and miss a bunch of shots in a row, and you're like, in this moment, my ego is telling me I'm bad. But that thought of being bad only matters like after you have it, if that makes sense. After the label's already there, right? It doesn't happen right now. So what we do is we want to be present. And everyone is so confused by this because everyone says be present, but nobody knows what that means, right? They might have like an idea, but how does that look in practice and why does it work? I'm going to hop into a ranked game and we're going to check that out. So I thought it was funny to hop in a 1v1 against a math teacher. The title, let's do Tracer. So I was 1v1 a math teacher. He's 10-1. So this is very egoic thinking, where it's like, hey, I bet I can beat him. It's like, hey, I bet I can like beat this guy, right? Right? Like I'm probably gonna like roll him. It's like if I let myself get in that mindset, then if I don't, I'm gonna feel terrible about how my performance or whatever. I'm gonna be like, damn, do I really deserve GM if I like lose to this like low elo player or something, like. But if I can operate outside of that, then I don't have to worry about how I'm performing, and I also don't have to like prove anything to myself or this other player, right? Because then I won't be, you don't want to like come off like a dick. So this guy said, he's like, I suck, right? That's his ego activating because he feels like he's bad since he's playing against me, right? I'm most likely a higher rank than this guy. So I probably have more experience. And because of that experience, like I'm gonna probably be a little better than him. But it doesn't make him bad, right? Like when you say I'm good or I'm bad, that's all relative. Like that doesn't have any meaning without another person there. And look at that. Because I wasn't a dick and I wasn't toxic, he sent me a friend request. That's how this works. Just be nice to people. They'll be nice back. So look at that. Super nice. That could have gone two ways. I could have let my ego get the best of me, and I could have flamed him for being terrible. Even though he was like kind of catching up on me. Kind of gaining on me, So, I'm in a Masters 1 to GM2 game. There are some high elo players in this lobby. How does that affect my mentality? Or how would it affect my mentality if I didn't keep my ego in check? Right? If I see that there's people that are higher ranked than me, my first instinct is to say, oh, I'm small. I'm not good enough to be in this lobby. They're better than me. They're going to win every duel. But again, rank is just like a label. It doesn't actually define how you're playing in this moment.
We run a bit and then I attack. Just like walk towards their back.
Yeah, I look for ult here. Wait, can we combo?
Fun. I'm walking in. Can you ring? On back.
Got walled. There's a maybe behind on me.
Can walk past.
Traded.
Whoa. The shatter. On the top here. Keep their top walk out. Top's one. Run slow, run slow. Force an ult here maybe. Break wall, break wall. Use my ult.
Run one, run one.
Run one, run one. Fair right, fair right. Fair low on the right. We can push, we can push.
Just hit one.
It just crosses thing. Nope. Freya. Good, there's shatter. Or Freya ult. Cool. Freya's up coast side.
Frey one. Up. Nice. Oh, I might be dead.
I'm walking towards that.
Nice go. So there's nothing there that really made me
I'm
upset
walking
about
like
my
a G.
performance. Like
Come on, Gina.
everything was kind of like
Stuck at
justifiable.
point. Gina,
I can
there's
look at the scoreboard. I can be like, hey, I'm 5-3. I'm not doing very great. But it's like,
Need help.
if I look at like the individual interactions I
Can we
had.
look for Gina?
May one. Nice. Frey one. Absolute.
It's still
Nice. May one. Nice. Yeah, if I like kind of look back to the individual interactions, it's like yeah, maybe there were some micro decisions I could have made better. But like overall, like I'm not upset with how I played.
Just can't kill this fucking bat, bro. Fuck.
Wait. Okay, so one of my teammates left. How does this make me feel? If I'm really attached to my rank, it's gonna make me dread being in this game because it's like, damn, it's like very unlikely that we'll win if he doesn't come back.
To walk out into Blizz.
But how I'm kind of looking at it now is like,
You can like ring Blade.
is there anything I can do about it?
Come right.
Right? It's like, is there even like, what is the point in letting it affect me if I don't have control over it? Oh my god. So like, teammate leaving is like a that sucks moment, right? I can either let it kind of like piss me off, or I can say, hey, it is what it is. It happened. It's not like I did anything to like cause that, right? And even if I did, it's like, it doesn't change the situation. It's like, if I think that losing this game like changes how good I am as a player, I'm like logically incorrect. It's like,
We can win.
if the game is like statistically improbable to win because we lost a player, then like, why would I let myself,
Push low.
why would I let the outcome of this game
Can't really push anything. I'm
Like,
just, to get
affect how I feel
honest. They have bomb.
about my own performance, right? Like the rank's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, but it, like the only reason you care about your rank is because it tells you whether you're like doing better or doing worse. But in this case, it doesn't.
I have right side. Big hog. Not like Kenji. No hook. See Lucio?
So like, I don't know. Like I'm missing a lot of shots, but it's also kind of hard because Our tank can't walk. And also I'm just like,
Fun.
I'm just missing, right? I'm not reading the movement effectively. So I'm going to swap here. So even though we're losing, even though we're going to lose this game, it's like I don't, it doesn't really bother me, right? That's why I think in some ways this like GG go next mentality is pretty good, because it's like you can just put the past behind you. Right now I'm just going to focus on doing the best I can, even though we're not going to win, right?
Walking right here. Hog.
Yeah.
I passed. Let's try.
ND. GG's.
G.
So I'd say that was a pretty good example game in regards to how you can like deal with adversity, right? It's like, I don't think that losing this game, like the whole point of this is to reframe what rank means, right? If you associate your rank with your value as a player, you are destined to lose rank. It's kind of paradoxical in that sense. The more you care about the rank, the more unhappy you'll feel. The less you care about your rank, the higher your rank will be, and the better you'll feel. And it kind of feels like silly. It's like, okay, but if I don't care about the rank, why even rank up? You can still appreciate your rank, even if you're not attached to it, right? So I can say, hey, I'm top 500. It feels good to my ego to be top 500, but it doesn't change. Like, I'm not attached to being top 500. If I drop out of top 500, it doesn't bother me because I don't identify with it. I can be in top 500 and still like appreciate the fact that I've made it this far, but I'm not tying my self-worth to being in this rank. You can make the statement about any rank. You can say, hey, I'm a Masters player. Hey, I'm a Diamond player. I'm not a Plat player. I'm a Diamond player, right? Okay, well, what happens if you lose 10 games and be Plat? Are you now a Diamond player? Technically, you're a player. You're in Plat, no longer Diamond, but you could still be playing like a Diamond player because it's possible you got unlucky with teammates. Maybe you just went on a losing streak. So something to think about. I encourage you to actively notice when your ego comes up in games. Try to reframe it on the spot and really just try your best to not let it get the best of you, not let it influence your emotional state. It's going to feel bad when that feeling comes up, but how you respond to it is up to you. As long as you're aware of it when it comes up, you have way more power to control your actions than if you weren't aware of it. Hope this helped, guys. See you next time.